Hey guys, what's up? Hey, well, welcome to my review. I don't know what that was. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna review Halloween Ends, the last Halloween movie that we're gonna be getting forever. Yeah, totally. Hey guys, welcome back to the Grandma's channel and welcome back to our movie review series. And the movie I'm reviewing today is the last Halloween movie that we're ever going to get. Not only is it the conclusion to this new trilogy, but it's forever going to be the last Halloween movie that we're ever going to get. Michael Myers is no more. And like Jamie Lee Curtis said almost a year ago, this is meant to be the Halloween movie that is going to make fans angry because it's gonna piss everybody off. Everyone's going to hate this movie with the changes they made to everything, and just that everyone's going to hate this movie. Everyone's gonna get so pissed off. But was she right? Yep, and the movie is Halloween Ends for now. I'm sorry, Halloween Ends. We finally made it to the conclusion of this new trilogy, Halloween Ends, which is going to show Jamie Lee Curtis coming back one last time as Laurie Strode to fight Michael Myers, which sounds pretty cool, and then you realize the amount of shit that this movie has been given so far. It's really bad, which is really disappointing, man. I really wanted this movie to really succeed and do well, because Halloween Kills, I didn't mind that movie personally, but a lot of people did not like the movie, and, you know, it got a lot of shit, and I was really hoping this movie would do better. It's basically doing just as bad, if not worse. So yeah, Halloween Ends is basically just being treated like another Rise of Skywalker or a Jurassic World Dominion type finale. You know, it sucks, man. But what did I think of Halloween Ends? It's a bit of a weird movie. It's a very strange movie. It has some good moments here and there, and we do finally get that Michael and Laurie fight that we've been waiting for ever since Halloween 2018. But other than that, like the middle of the movie before we get that big fight, it's just a strange movie. And Laurie Strode isn't even really the main character. It's focused on this new character, Corey Cunningham, and he's basically the main character of this movie, which is really weird because this is Laurie Strode and Michael Myers' last confrontation, and they really focus on this new character, and it was kind of strange. But before we get into any more issues, let's get into some of the positives. I guess I'll start off by saying that every actor and actress do a really good job with their performances, like Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. I thought she was pretty good in this movie. I always had an issue with her always saying these really long speeches about how Michael Myers is evil and shit, and, you know, repeating herself over and over and over. And she doesn't do it as much in this movie, and I appreciated it, and I thought she was pretty good in this movie. And just knowing that this is the last time she's going to be playing Laurie Strode is just, it's kind of sad, but I'm glad to say that she does do a pretty good job in this movie with the amount of time she's given to do anything in this movie, because she's sidelined a bit in this movie, unfortunately, because, you know, a lot's happening in this movie, and she is sidelined a bit, so that kind of sucks. But she does do a good job. The actress who plays Allison, I don't remember her name, she does a pretty fine job. She's given quite a bit to do in this movie, so for what she's told to do, she does a pretty good job, so yeah, that's cool, I guess. And the new character, Corey Cunningham, I forgot the actor's name, but I won't say too much about his character right now, but I'll say the actor does do a good job for what he's told to do. The actor does a good job. He does a pretty fine job for what he's told to do. I can't really get into detail of what he does, but he does a good job. I thought the music in this movie was actually really, really cool. It sounded really good hearing it in the theater. You know, when there was a scene where it was nothing too crazy was happening and it was very quiet, the music wouldn't be too over the top or crazy. If it was playing during a very quiet scene, the music will also be very quiet as well, and I really appreciated that. And whenever there was a crazy epic scene going on, the music sounded really, really cool. So I like the music in this movie. It sounded really good. You know, when we finally make it to the big showdown between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, it was cool. I mean, it only went on for like a few minutes, but for what we got, I actually kind of enjoyed it. The few minutes that we had of that fight, it was a pretty fun fight. So I'm glad to say that. Although this movie probably does have the weakest kills of the entire trilogy, there are some kills here and there that I was like, oh my god. And there was one kill in particular where I was just like, ugh, oh god, fucking hell. So this movie probably does have the weakest kills, mainly because either it's kind of like the type of kills that we've seen before, or they just literally cut away. I hated it when they cut away to the kills. Like, it was pretty annoying, but there were some here and there that were actually pretty good. There are scenes in this movie, although can feel a bit predictable. There are some times in this movie where it feels like, oh god, where are they going to go with this? Well, what are they about to do right now? Especially the opening of this movie. The opening scene of this movie, oh my god, holy shit. I was sitting there, I was like, holy shit, where are they going to go with this? And although it was a little bit silly, it ended up being fucked. It was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? It was a bit silly, but it was pretty fucked. And yeah, there are scenes in this movie where there are just moments in this movie where you feel like, okay, I can already tell where they're gonna go with this. It's pretty obvious, but there are times where you're like, what the fuck? Where are they gonna go with this? So there's some nice little unpredictable moments here and there, which is pretty good. Just like the previous two movies, this movie has a lot of callbacks to previous Halloween movies, especially the original, just, little moments recreated, or just, scenes that make you remember, hey, that was just like the original movie, or that Halloween movie, and stuff like that. It's fun, little Easter eggs in a Halloween movie. It's always fun. Even the last, last few seconds of the movie before the credits rolled was a complete callback. Won't get into details of how, but it was the last few seconds before the credits rolled was a complete callback, and that was pretty good. Other than that, that's probably all my positives I can say about this movie without getting into spoilers. So without further ado, let's get into some of my issues. Like I said at the start of my review, this is a very, very weird movie. I mean, the opening of the movie, although silly, was interesting and pretty fucked, and the last 10 to 20 minutes of the movie feels like what we'd expect out of a movie like this, but everything else was just kinda weird. And the main reason for that is because of this new character, Corey Cunningham. He basically turns this movie into a psychological type movie, kind of? I don't know. And he's basically just the main character in this movie. And it's just a weird choice. It's just a very strange choice to have, this is the finale, this is the final showdown between Michael and Laurie, and you're just gonna bring in this new character that's never been seen before in any of the previous Halloween movies and just basically make him the main character? What? Yeah, it was just a really weird choice. I think the actor who played Corey did a good job, but overall, it's just a weird choice. Like, why would you bring in this new guy, never seen before, and he's just basically the main character in this finale? It's just a really weird choice. It makes characters like Laurie sidelined, and even characters like Lindsay. I haven't even talked about her yet, because she doesn't do shit in this movie. She's completely sidelined, and there's nothing for me to say about her. She's very sidelined in this movie, so I got nothing to say about her. And Michael Myers gets very sidelined as well. And that's going to be bringing me to my next issue, and that is Michael Myers. Oh my god, what the fuck? Not only because he was very sidelined and he wasn't given much to do in this movie, but also because he wasn't fucking scary. He was not scary at all. He was not at all intimidating. He was just weak. He was a straight up old man in this movie. He was a lot weaker, and it was a bit disappointing. Knowing this is the last Halloween movie that we'll be getting for a while, and the last time we'll be seeing Michael Myers on the big screen for a while, and he's just a dickhead in this movie. He's so weak. And when it goes to the fight between Michael and Laurie, it was cool. It was a very cool fight, but it continued to show how weak Michael has become, and it made Michael Myers in this movie just less intimidating, and he wasn't even scary. And it was disappointing with what they did with Michael. Not only because he was, very sidelined and shit, but he was also just very weak and not even scary, which is really disappointing. Back to talking about the kills in this movie. I did say some of them were pretty good, but most of them are kind of lame. I mean, this is not going to be like another Halloween Kills or anything. Like, that movie was fucking brutal, but this movie, it's not as brutal, of course, but there's just deaths in this movie that just kept, I don't know, they're just deaths that we've already seen before in other Halloween movies, or they just kept cutting away from the deaths. Like, why do you cut away? Why do you do that? What the fuck? It felt so fucking cheap. It felt very cheap. They just fucking cut away from the deaths and stuff and don't show anything. I just didn't understand it. It's the last Halloween movie. You're not going to show anything? What the fuck? I don't know. I just didn't like that. And the movie has a lot of very cheap jump scares as well. It's the most cliche jump scares you will ever see. It's like someone will just pop out of nowhere and just be like, "Hey!" and with a jump scare sound effect. And it's that type of shit. It was so annoying, and they kept doing it over and over and over, and I was like, stop doing it. Yeah, it was so annoying. It was such a fucking cliche, and it was so cheap. And yeah, there's actually a couple scenes in this movie that are just kind of that are just I don't think they're meant to be funny, but they're pretty funny. There's this one scene in particular, I can't really talk about it, but it was so funny. I wasn't actually laughing out loud, but deep down I was fucking laughing. I was like, that shit was funny. It basically just showed how weak Michael has become. Like, what have they done to you? You actually used to be really scary and strong in those last two movies, and now you're just a weak little bitch. Like, what the fuck? I don't want to bash on this movie too much, so all I'll say is that Halloween Ends is a bit of a weird conclusion to this trilogy. You know, a lot of characters are very much sidelined because of this new character that we've never even seen before. Michael Myers is very sidelined. We don't see much of him, and he's a bit of a weak little bitch in this movie. You know, I don't know. The kills in this movie were very, very lame. For the final movie, they were very lame. But overall, Halloween Ends was just, like I said, a weird conclusion. And would I still recommend you go out and see Halloween Ends? Probably not, no. People seem to be very unhappy with this movie, so maybe it's just best to just watch it at home, you know, maybe on like a streaming service or something. I'm pretty sure it's on a streaming service, I don't know. So maybe it's just best to watch it at home, yeah. The ending to this movie is nothing too, like, mind-blowing or anything, so it's just kind of like, alright, that's it, it's over, done, cool. So I don't know. That's about it. It's just I guess there's some closure. It felt a little bit rushed, actually. Not a little bit. It felt a little rushed, but I don't know. It was just a whatever ending, and you know, it was just an overall really weird conclusion to this trilogy. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of my review of Halloween Ends. That is the last Halloween movie we're going to be getting for a while, I guess. Yeah, it's just kind of sucks because, you know, just the way they treated Michael Myers in this movie, how much he was sidelined, and just the way he was treated, it was just disappointing. And now knowing we're not going to be getting another Halloween movie for probably a long time, it sucks. It's disappointing. That makes this movie very disappointing. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my review for Halloween Ends. Post your comments down below of what you guys thought of the movie and if you liked it or hated it. And yeah, that's the end of Blumhouse's new Halloween trilogy. So, yep, rest in peace. Nah, who gives a shit? Fucking Michael Myers will come back in no time. He's gonna fucking go like this. He's gonna be like, sorry, got a little carried away.